All right, here we are. Recap Roundtable 19.4, yet another skeleton crew. Jeff Moore, Christina Previtt, Zach Morgan. We've got Mitch Babcock here as well. So 19.4, very fun workout. 3 rounds for time, 10 snatches at 95-65 and 12 bar-facing burpees. Once you finish, you got a 3-minute rest, and then you had the remainder of the time up until 12 minutes to do another 3 rounds for time, this time of 10 bar muscle-ups and 12 bar-facing burpees. Let's throw it down to Zach to start. Zach, what were your thoughts on this workout? How do you think it went?
Yeah, I liked this workout. To my knowledge, this is the first time we've seen rest in the open, I think, which is cool. I kind of like the built-in rest chunk because it gives you the ability, kind of like you were talking about on the podcast on Friday, Alan, to get your heart rate to 90% and know that you're going to have a little bit of time to let that come down. So I really enjoyed that. The weight was manageable, I think, to the point that you should be able to probably string some of them together and then still move pretty fast on the burpees. So that first workout was, a high output, but it was a burner. And then the second one was really all about whether or not you had the muscle ups in the bag. So, and whether or not you could keep them with all those burpees because you're pressing yourself up so many times. So I've always kind of liked muscle ups, but I've always hated burpees. So it kind of somewhat balanced out, but I could have done without the burpees and just done 30 muscle ups for time and been happier. But yeah, I thought it was a good one.
What was your tie break time? Do you remember?
I think it was like 4:20, something like that.
Okay. Do you think you could have gone faster if you were to redo it?
We'll never know.
Great answer.
Great answer. Fair enough. Cool. Christina, what were your thoughts? What did you end up doing? Snatches, and what was your scale for the burpees?
Yeah, so I was 32 weeks pregnant at the time, so I'm still able to burpee to the ground as long as I don't bring my chest to the floor. So I did this snatch, but I didn't feel like I would have totally hit my stomach. So I kind of went into a clean and jerk grip and just hit mid-thigh and came straight up. It was light enough that I could still kind of cycle the barbell that way. You had to be careful coming down because if you lean too far back, then you can kind of pull that diastasis out pretty quickly. But the bar was really light, and then I just stepped over the bar instead of jumped over the bar. Yeah. So my tie break time was like 4:39 or something like that. And then for the bar muscle-ups, I did ring rows and dips so that I was still getting the back and the tricep kind of movement. And then same thing for the burpees. So I think I got into the burpees on the second round before the time cap came. But it's hard to not go guns a-blazing when you have to try and keep yourself a little bit more subdued. They were laughing at me because I'm at the point in my pregnancy where everything is turning into a crop top. So I was doing burpees and my shirt was starting to come up, and Dustin and Meg and Nick, my husband, were all just cracking up laughing. So there's a couple of pictures of me laughing and yelling at them to stop making fun of me because I'm slowly getting more and more pregnant. But in terms of the way
Christina.
Oh, Dustin came in. Yeah. Well, fine. Dustin says that he wasn't laughing. It was only Meg and Nick that were laughing, but I beg to differ. In terms of the way that this workout would go from a female perspective, it's how efficient can you stay on the kip. So when you started seeing the people who are more chicken wing on the bar muscle up, they hit a wall real fast. So they came in, their heart rates were down, they got a couple out, and then there's a lot of staring at the rig. So what I noticed is that on the bar muscle up, you want to try and get as close to your hip bone as possible on that kip, that really aggressive hip up to meet the bar so that you can come over instead of trying to come on top of a fence. That's kind of the comparison that I can make when you're trying to push up onto a fence. You're using a lot of upper body instead of really aggressively shooting the hip up towards. And that's how you can kind of circumvent the fatigue from the burpee, that press up. So if you can really pull down, get your lats engaged to get over top of the bar, then you can usually keep it together a little bit more. And you want to try and break them up earlier, especially for some of the female athletes who don't have the same upper extremity strength to be able to pull over. So I saw a couple of people who were kind of holding onto their shoulder because they were doing this cranky shoulder thing over. They were like really holding on, and they were kind of stuck there for a long time, got really, really stuck, held there for 10, 15 seconds, then came down. And then it's really hard to recover from that when you're kind of at that red line. Your heart rate's already really high. So that's what I kind of noticed from an athlete's perspective. And I remember when I was competing too, same thing. Like I would just like aggressively hip pull to try and get my hips as high as possible so that my upper body, which wasn't as strong, could still get over the bar relatively easily. So yeah, it was that kip that tended to get lost, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Let's throw over to Dustin, who jumped in. I know he's got to run soon to go to CrossFit. Dustin, what were your thoughts on 19.4?
19.4. I wish I could have done it after I took the clinical management of the fitness athlete. That would have been nice to learn how to snatch before I did 30 reps of them. But yeah, I think this one was just like all the other ones for me, where it's like, okay, this is the workout. I have no clue how this is going to go, and let's just go for it. So the environment helped tremendously. Just having y'all there and being at CrossFit Fit was amazing. The snatches were interesting because I mean, it was a light enough weight to where I could do them, but man, that third round was just rough. The lack of technique really came through there, and the burpees just gassed me out. But the first part did not go as terribly as what I was expecting. So it made it to, the second round after that 3 minutes of rest. I took 3.5 minutes. Christina's husband, Nick, was trying to get me to go, but I gave him the stop on that. After my 3.5 minute rest, it was time for muscle-ups, and I just got my first muscle-up a couple weeks ago, so I had no clue what to expect in terms of the ability to do one rep or multiple reps after doing something like the snatches and the burpees. And I just kind of took my time, and I got 8 reps, and that felt pretty awesome. I think I could have got a few more if I would have incorporated, some Jeff Moore technique with his ability to get over the bar towards the end. But I got 8, and the timer went off, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I think I could have gone a little further. But yeah, it was a new frontier for me. But I had a great time. Really cool to see Christina get after it. My wife really surprised herself too. It was all around positive experience. Great way to go into the weekend for CMFA.
Cool, man. Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, man. Well, like Dustin said, I mean, first of all, huge shout out to CrossFit Fenton. I mean, how fun was that? I mean, the place just packed, rowdy. We got Mitch emceeing. I mean, that was quite the scenario, which was great. And it was cool I tell you, man, the ice faculty's in shape, but it's pretty cool to see all you guys throwing around 95 pounds like it's a piece of paper. It was not that easy for me. So those 30 snatches were tiring. Burpees are generally a movement, one of the few things that I'm fine with. But by the time I got to the bar, my arms were pretty damn tired from those snatches. So my muscle-ups, I've only tried that a couple times in my life, and I really wanted to get one, and I did get one-ish. I mean, we got up there, but she was squirrely. Talk about going over a fence, like Christina was saying. It was the struggle bus all the way up. But I did get up there. I wanted to get one of those. I know for the score, it's good if you can get one of those done. And then I finished out doing the scaled version. So I did my 10 just kipping pull-ups, chin above bar, and was able to get into the done with the second round of 10 of those. And then I was pretty smoked. I really felt that one. My shoulder still kind of bugs me, I think, from the one floundering muscle-up that was attempted.
Mitch, thoughts?
It wasn't just attempted.
Can I interrupt there to give context to that one muscle-up?
Yes, you should definitely do
that. Because I was waiting to go, and I was kind of on the side watching Jeff. I was probably 20, 30 feet away, and I saw his first attempt where he didn't get up there, and I was just screaming, like, come on, Jeff, come on. And he gets off the bar, and he just looks at me, turns his head to the left, and he literally stares through my soul, and all I can see in his face is, this will not defeat me. And he goes back at it, and he's on. It seemed like that bar muscle-up attempt lasted like a solid 45 seconds. And then he got to the top, and it was just so cool to see, someone go up against an obstacle. The obstacle was too much on that first attempt, and the second attempt you know, to just, hell yeah, let's get after it. And he overcame it. And that was an awesome moment to witness.
It was all of 45 seconds, I'll tell you that right
now. I love it. I love it.
And the gym went wild, dude.
The gym went wild.
No one got a picture, but if you could have saw the look on Jeff's face, just locked out on top of that bar. It was an epic moment. Yeah, so on behalf of the gym, I was super pumped just to see all of our crew here across the Fenton, be able to bring you guys in from all over the country and all over from Canada as well, coming on into the gym and checking out the digs here and hanging out with us for our Friday Night Lights party. It was really, really fun. It's everything that we hope for when we throw those events, from to feel electric in an environment like that that's conducive for people getting after it and getting competitive. So I was super pumped to see you guys come in. So thank you all for making the trip and making your arrangements, especially Jeff and Zach, who changed their flight schedule and rented a car and went all over the northern country there to make it happen. So pumped for that. From a coach's standpoint, loved the rest, like Zach said, because you can talk to your athletes about like really stepping on the gas early and going fast and getting that fast high break time, and then using that rest to really prep yourself and get ready to at least get some bar muscle up attempts depending on your ability with that. I think this workout's a little different. If you are super efficient with bar muscle ups and you plan on finishing, or if you are, if you're not efficient at bar muscle ups, how do you approach that first part? Because having a scorching fast high break time, if you plan on finishing the workout anyways, does that help or hinder you, right? If you're a little too redlined early and then you have to slow down your bar muscle ups, which you could have done bigger sets of, did that slow down your overall finish time? That was really the question I was asking myself, is like, did I execute that first part appropriately? Did I go too fast? Did that slow me down in part two? I finished the workout in around 11 minutes, which is fine. I didn't redo it. I just didn't want to subject myself to that much more pain for a few more seconds improvement. Call me what you will, Zach, but that's just my decision. But nonetheless, it was a really cool workout, I think. The burpees over the bar, they got rid of their old standard of jumping their feet out and jumping their feet in, which they did last year, and they allowed athletes to step their feet out, step their feet in, which, depending on which route you went with, really could keep your heart rate down. I know me and Billy were kind of going head-to-head across lanes, and he was stepping his burpees out, and I was jumping mine, and we were kind of holding the same cadence, and I feel like my heart rate was a little higher than his was. So he might have had the better strategy as he nosed me out by a couple seconds there at the end. So just interesting when they change things like that and how people can strategize with them and get by. I'm having a lot of athletes come off the bar today, though, from the gym. Yesterday we had toes to bar. We're in our normal programming, and we was encouraging a lot of athletes to go V-ups instead. If they did the workout Friday and they retested on Monday and they worked on bar muscle-ups all weekend long, they need to come off the bar. That's a bunch of volume that they're not accustomed to doing. And when we talk about training volume and spikes and stuff like that, and achy shoulders, let's not throw any more kipping on top of that in our weekly program when it just doesn't matter. So we were like, hey, come off the bar. I know you can do toes to bar, but let's do V-ups or ab mat sit-ups instead, and just give those shoulders a couple days to breathe and relax and see what Friday 19.5 has for our last workout. So that's what I got.
Mitch, are we not going to talk about how hardcore you were with your injury?
I know.
I was going to try to skate out of that.
I know. I was like, there's no way.
So I split my head for the second open. I split my head in the same spot in 2017, believe it or not.
No.
I did, yeah. Warming up. So it was 17.3, the snatch workout, and I was so pumped and excited that I headbutted an empty barbell as I was warming up my snatch. Regardless, I'm a smarter athlete now, but I still cracked my head open doing burpees. I think I just slid, and I was still too close to my bar-facing burpees, and it was a bar headbutting burpee. Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know what happened at the time. I was bleeding afterwards. People were concerned. Why is it bleeding? Am I supposed to be bleeding?
To give listeners or viewers context, Mitch was shirtless, so he looked like a Greek god, dripping sweat, a very tan, dark individual, and he's kneeled over, and then he stands up, and he just has blood dripping down his face all the way down to his chin, and he's just huffing and puffing, and it's just a very scary, intimidating moment. Pretty awesome.
It was not my goal to intimidate you.
And then everybody in his gym is like, why are you bleeding? And he's barely breathing as well. So he's like bleeding, barely breathing. Yeah, it was a sight.
It's typical CrossFit Fenton. I took this workout with the approach that I don't have bar muscle ups, so my goal for 19.4 was just to get through the first 3 rounds as fast as possible and get a good tie break. I think I accomplished that. I surprised myself. I wanted to be under 6, and I hit 4:12, so I was really happy with my tie break time. I don't know that I could have gone any faster, and I wasn't really interested in retesting it, so I didn't redo it. In hindsight, I would not have let the people who were standing behind me talk me into trying any bar muscle ups. I had a group of about 5 gym members behind me. They're like, "Dude, you've worked so hard on your fitness this past year. Just go for it." And I got some real bad chicken wing attempts in and dinged up my right shoulder yet again another week in the open. So had not as bad as last week, but had some buggy shoulder pain over the weekend that's gone now with some isometrics and eccentrics. So hopefully there's no shoulder stuff in 19.5 that I can be talked into doing and hurting myself a little bit more. I'm certainly over the course of these workouts getting a feel for what it's like to be a competitive athlete, just feeling kind of banged up during competition season all the time and just kind of over it at this point. So looking forward to getting through 19.5 and tapering back down to normal programming and getting some time to rest up all the aches and pains. What do we think we'll see in 19.5, team? We haven't seen thrusters, we haven't seen pull-ups, we haven't seen deadlifts, we haven't seen box jumps, we haven't seen some of the common stuff we usually see in the open. So what are your guys' thoughts on what we'll see? I should call somebody out, I guess. Christina, go for it.
So we haven't seen a big chipper either. So in terms of the formatting, I can see it being something chipper-like where you're trying to get through, or like high rep stuff like the 50-50-50-50 workout, something like that. So I can kind of see potentially like, thrusters, deadlifts in that type of format. I kind of don't think they're going to have us on the rig just because there's been toes to bar and bar muscle ups, and they tend to not put heavy volume gymnastics 2 weeks in a row just because people's hands are pretty beat up. So that's kind of my guess of where we're gonna go this week. So,
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I could definitely see thrusters showing up. I mean, I feel like we had a similar stimulus with the wall balls in 19.1, but there's something especially nasty about thrusters. I haven't competed in every open, but it seems like a lot of them, they love to go on this last workout with some sort of an ascending rep scheme, because we all train descending rep schemes where you go 21, 15, 9 or whatever. But when it's that like 3s, then 6s, then 9, there's a special place in hell for those kind of workouts. And I could see that being the case.
Yeah. Jeff, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kind of dreading maybe something real heavy early on. Like, I've been surprised there hasn't been something where at the beginning of the workout, it was so heavy I couldn't do it, which has surprised me. Obviously, when you get, like when Mitch got 275 early on in the open, that was a different level of weight, but we haven't seen something super intimidating weight-wise coming right out of the block. So I guess I'm worried to see like deadlifts at 325 or something, opening up early on. That would kind of shut me down. But boy, if we saw a nice long grinder of deadlifts and box jumps, something like that, I would really be able to hit the gas for one good shot at the end. Maybe have a good finale coming off that chicken wing muscle up.
Dustin, are you still with us?
Yeah.
What do you think we'll see? What do you want to see?
Man, I don't even play this game. I don't know why y'all play the guessing game. Just have terrible expectations, and you'll be pleasantly surprised every Thursday at 8 p.m. So, yeah, I'm expecting the workout from hell. It's going to be terrible, and we'll just go for it. If it is deadlifts and box jumps, I would be very happy with that. But otherwise, I don't try and play the guessing game.
I'll email Dave Castro and tell him that we got 2 really tall, lanky guys that want to see some deadlifts.
Yeah,
Alan,
I appreciate that.
Alan, what is with no bike? There's so much fame around the assault bike. Why do we never see the bike, man?
So no bike in the open yet. Just kind of the belief that and the knowledge that a lot of gyms have no bikes. Right, there's still a lot of gyms out there just rocking only rowers. It took a long time, even in the open, to have them put rowing in. So just that, the same thing a couple of years ago when they started putting dumbbells in, that gyms just don't have that equipment. They have barbells and rowers and a rig, and that's pretty much it. But now now they're expected to have dumbbells and kettlebells. I think eventually we'll see the bike. Sooner or later, it's coming. I would love a salt workout. That's my jam. But Dave Castro, if you're listening,
I will say if Dave Castro does listen to this, I would love like a solid like half marathon. If we could throw that in there with whatever else you'd want, Dave, that'd be appreciated.
I always joke that I'd like to see a marathon row show up in the Open because everybody else would just quit right away, and I'd win by default because I'm the only person that would be willing to even do it.
I would play the pregnancy card.
Mitch, what do you see?
Dave for sure listens to this podcast. No, sure. We look at the time domains, and I have been surprised by how many have fallen in the 10-ish minute range. I can't imagine we're going to see another one like that again. I got to think, like, I'm going to err towards Jeff a little bit, and like what Christina said, maybe a little bit more of a chipper, a little bit more volume. The strongest will keep fighting. Zach had a good point of like those ascending rep schemes, or maybe something a little similar to 19.2, where maybe you earn yourself more time and more depth in hell, I guess. We got to see a squat. We got to see more squat in this Open. The thruster always seems to come around at the 5th week of the Open. So if we didn't see a thruster, I'd be surprised. Jeff, you may get your worst wish, which might be a heavier thruster. We may see like a 135, 95-pound thruster, because we've always seen 95, 65, and that would be salty, and that would be a separator for folks that could handle that bar versus folks that couldn't. I don't know. We'll see. Like Dustin says, I hate playing this game. I'm guaranteed to be bad. It's stupid.
Yeah, I was thinking about this last night, and it would be interesting if we saw like a 9:15:21 of thrusters at 135.95 and pull-ups, and then something like in the remaining time find a 1-rep max deadlift. That would be pretty gnarly. That seems Dave's style.
I've seen like some nasty ones too, where the thruster is heavy at the beginning with a lower rep scheme, and then you start stripping off weight. Oh, those are gross too.
Yeah. Goes from strength to aerobic really quick.
Yeah, your heart rate jacks up so fast. Oh, the red line.
All right, team. Well, that's all we got. So we'll look forward to the workout coming out Thursday night, and then we'll meet for our last recap roundtable next week. Talk a little bit more about our closing thoughts after the Open for those folks who it's their first Open, and those folks who've been doing the Open for a while. So we'll meet again next week. Thanks for those who were able to join us today. We'll catch you guys later.
Thanks, man. See you
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Yeah.